I want to start this by saying that I personally enjoyed the IF series for all the wrong reasons. Trust me, you'll understand why, and that you should take this video with a grain of salt. I guess there's going to be spoilers, so if you want, you can go play these games for yourself. If you can bear it. Привет, my name is Tigris and welcome to the IF series. A cesspit of one-liners, bad jokes and a contrived story that hardly makes any sense for me. But I'll try my best to explain it to you from my perspective. I just realized how hard it's gonna be to make the script for this because this is all so convoluted. I'll try my best anyway. The first game takes place a little while after the massacre at
Hachiko
High, after everything went back to normal. This is when we get introduced to our cast, and spoiler alert, you better get used to or at least tolerate them because they won't be going anywhere anytime soon. The first important character we meet is Volt, a negligent German shepherd, and negligent is a nice way of putting it. This guy is a bit of a dumbass. Yeah, so Volt is a student at
Hachiko
High, and one day he really starts to like the idea of going out to this so-called House of No Return as some sort of test of courage. The dogs that he was sharing this idea with want nothing to do with this, which is pretty smart, so Volt is left alone to ponder. This is when our next quote-unquote important character is introduced, Noelle. She's a rich dog that's good friends with Volt somehow, and so she really wants to join him in his adventure. I could not say anything else about Noelle right now because she's really uninteresting, so I'll move on to our next character, Sora. Now, Sora might just be one of my favorites from the IF series because, I actually don't know why. Hold on, I gotta think. Oh, he tries to be a good friend to Volt and the others around him. He's the one who wants to prevent Volt from going out to that spooky house, but he fails. He still follows Volt and Noelle to that place because he wants them to stay out of trouble and watch over them. So, yeah, he's a good friend. Or at least he tries to. So these guys trespass into the house, and guess what? This house is not abandoned. In fact, the basement of this place holds loads of dead rotting bodies belonging to the ones who tried exploring this house in the past. And guess who killed all these people in cold blood? Demons. Yeah, they're back. But this is not Coco's work. They survived the encounter, and they go on to find this guy in the library. His name is Tomoka, and he's a self-insert of the creator of these games. Tomoka's whole thing is that he's a dog that wants to be a cat, and he really likes cats. Maybe just a bit too much. So the guys take this dude along with them and they end up in the lab. Yeah, this mansion has a lab. This is when we're introduced to the last important character of the first game. It's this little gremlin named Miles. So Miles is the owner of this mansion, and the demons in the house are actually his dead parents reincarnated as demons or something. That's quite a mouthful. By the way, this guy is supposed to be like 1,000 years old or something. So our heroes decide to take Miles out for a cold one and befriend him, which, fair enough, I would feel sorry for someone who looks like this. And yeah, they are all friends now. This is the end of the first game. Right, so I couldn't care less for the first game because it was not fun. I should probably mention that these games were made by a Japanese developer and I had to play the English translation because I don't know a drop of Japanese. The English translation sucks major ass, plain and simple. It's not very well made, so a lot of the story probably got lost in the translation, which is a shame, but whatever, let's move on.
Leave me alone!
The next game is Invert Frontier. This serves as a prequel to the first game, and it's also here to give more depth to some of the characters we know and love. This is the worst game out of the series and nothing can change my mind about it, and you'll see why. So this game introduces some new characters that really don't matter, and I'll get right into them in just a second. I just have to figure out how to proceed with this. This game takes place 25 years before the first one, and we can see that Miles is a student at Kemono High. Miles is being chased around by our first new cast member, Daisy. She's really interested about Miles' family and she won't stop harassing him about it despite Miles not being allowed to talk about his parents or home. Someone hears all the shouting and it's our second new friend, Gumball Watterson. He's supposed to be the leader of the elite magic club and he tells Daisy to leave Miles alone, but that doesn't work. They then continue running around the school until they come across this shady looking portal in some random room in the school. Miles and Daisy decide to enter the portal for some reason, and this is when we get into the bread and butter of the game. And now, you'll see why I hate this game with a passion. You need to explore the map in order to find areas in which you progress the story. The problem with that is that you need to figure out a way to get to them first. You do that by deciding if you go north, south, east, or west. This game leaves you to explore the whole map. It's pretty fucking big, by the way. By choosing these options over and over and over again. This whole game is basically a maze, and trust me, you'll go insane before you get to where you need to be to make some progress. Miles regroups with Daisy and they need to find a way to get out of this shadow realm. After some more fun exploring, they come across Sora, but like a kid? I'll try and explain this even if I don't really understand this whole thing myself. So basically Sora, or as he's called in this game, Sky, was created by some kind of almighty powerful entity and he was left there in the weird dimension for some reason. Miles and Daisy don't really know that yet, so they take him with them because he's a kid and leaving him there would be pretty uncool. After a while they find some kind of abandoned city and this is when they get cornered by these strange tentacles that want to kill them, but worry not. Gumball is here and he rescues them because he's so cool. The whole gang is here and they wander around some more until they find what seems to be the higher being I just talked about. It explains that Sky is their invention and they're not really a lost puppy, but this god strikes our protagonists a deal. Sky can begin a new life in the normal world, but he will forget everything he knows until then. They take the deal and they get back to the not crazy world. Sky is nowhere to be found, but as you'll see in the extras, he's been spawned in a neighborhood in Kemono Town, in the rain. He eventually gets found by someone who takes them in, and this is how the Invert Frontier ends. This game is overall not very good. I haven't had fun with it. I've honestly had more fun with the first one, and that's not saying much. It tries to add more depth to Sora and Miles, which it kinda succeeds in. I don't really know. Let's move on. The next game is Infamous Friend. We're now heading towards some sort of transitional phase for these games. Why am I saying that? Well, this game is like the awkward spot between being actually fun bad and just plain bad like the two games before it. This game takes place in present time, we're not in a prequel anymore. Volt and his friends go to a theme park in Kemono Town to have some fun and try to decompress, you know, as you usually do. They hang around for a bit, checking out some attractions. Turns out Volt is a big pussy that's scared of heights. Fun fact, Volt is so tall he doesn't fit on screen. This man is 100% on stilts. After goofing around some more, they find some kind of spooky entrance to somewhere and they decide to go check it out because why the hell not? What the fuck has happened here? So, there's a lot of blood. Okay. They leave the basement because why would you want to stay in there? Now we get introduced to a mechanic that I quite liked. You can switch between Volt and Sora by clicking on their little icons at the top of the screen. It's nothing special, but I don't know, it's pretty cool that you can do that. The theme park is completely fucked now. Everything has gone to hell again and our heroes find themselves trapped again. After running around, they break into a gift shop to get a key to a castle that's also an attraction at this theme park. So they enter to try and find the culprit that did this, and they do. It's this guy. He's also on the cover of the game. His name is Jasper Kefpelag and he looks like he's part of Black Veil Brides. He's Miles' former teacher and he's here because he wants to make Miles pay for his sins, but as it turns out, his true purpose is to bring back Miles' parents for some reason. Okay, my head hurts trying to make sense of this. Editor! Slap a coffee break on! Oh, wait. I'm the editor.
Oh my god.
So, Mr. Kefpelag wants to do that, so our friends take up running and they reach a dead end. Because they suck. Volt climbs up in a vent and leaves his friends to die, and they get captured again. But worry not, Volt didn't actually leave his friends to die and he comes back to save the day. So when I played this, I somehow got an ending where Miles gets erased from reality, which I think is unironically the best ending you could get. What happens here at the end is not important, so I'll leave it here for the third game. So this one was pretty fun, I guess. It was more well made than the other two, but not by much. Now, we get into the more memorable stuff. The next title is called Ideal Finale, and no, this is not the finale. We still have like 3 more games to go. In this one you get to choose on which side you start, because guess what? The original cast plays a role in this one. I went with Volt first, so we will roll with him for now. The gang wants to infiltrate Kemono High to ask the Witchen twins for help because Miles lost his magic after the ending of Infamous Friend. I don't know how the good ending looks for that one, but apparently Miles lost his magic in the process. Noel does some spell and disguises the Volts as cats. That's what I'll be calling this crew from now on, the Volts. The game does it too. And they find the twins, Ginger and Felix. Miles doesn't get his magic back for some reason, and then holy shit, why is everything red? So, something bad happened and the school is infested with demons that are reminiscent of the ones from the first original game. Felix calls this a religious war, and he does it for a reason. You'll see why. People are getting killed in Kemono High and the gang splits up. The Volts end up with Ginger, and she decides to hold the demons back so they could escape and quote-unquote tell the Olives about this. When I first got through this section, the friend that I was playing with could not stop laughing at this quote. Just imagine Volt talking to a bunch of olives, like the vegetables, explaining what happened at Kemono High. We are now done with the Volts for now, and so we move on to Side O. Side O stands for Side Olive, in case you didn't know. It actually took me quite a while to get that. So our old friends need to go out and capture Kafpalag because he's a terrorist and he killed a bunch of people in the last game. If you're wondering why a bunch of teens need to go capture a powerful old wizard, I think it's because of the massacre Coco has caused in Purrfect Apawcalypse 1. Coco and Angel convince the twins to try and appeal to the council at Kemono High. This is when we get introduced to the best character in the entire series, Lucifer. I love him very, very much. Lucifer tells the twins no, and that plan fails. Our guys have no choice but to search for Kafpalag in this dilapidated house. They go in, they find a key, and then they find Kafpalag. Before I move on, I want to say that somehow the English inside O is actually not that bad for some reason. Other than that, the characters are flanderized versions of themselves from the actual Purrfect Apawcalypse games. They're not terribly written, unlike some other characters, but they're not great either. They find Kafpalag, and now at this point the man just wants to die, so he just gives himself up. The gang talks to him about stuff and it's not really important. So our guys go to the basement of this creepy ass house and find a magic system. Sorry if I'm not explaining in enough detail, but I played this a few months ago and I'm not replaying these for the video. The story never really made sense anyway. Right, so these cold-looking dudes start appearing out of nowhere and they take Coco hostage. We now get introduced to another one of the good characters, Flu. He's the leader of this group and he takes Coco for some kind of ritual. Fortunately, Kafpalag manages to save the rest of the guys, but Coco is still gone and they need to get her back. The Kemono town is fucked up now, just look at this, it looks like Pristina. Now we unlock the final part. We're now in the city with our old friends and they are all in shambles. Some lunatics find them and so they ask their leader what to do with them. Turns out the leader of this particular group is Lucifer. So our friends are at the mercy of Lucifer, and what do you think he does? He kills them, of course. I'm kidding. He gets rid of the other cultists, and we learn that there's like a big boss behind all of this cultist crap, and Lucifer doesn't want to be a part of it anymore because he actually has morals, so now he's on the team. The cult's goal is to create a better world from scratch or something, and that's a no-no. After some more filler, we learned that Middens was also captured and our people divide into teams to go around the city and kill the cultists. And the Volts are here too. Oh, and Volt has a dad and he's a police officer. Cool. So they do that. Lucifer gets paired with fucking Miles, oh my god. They kill the cultists, but then they get captured by the big boss himself. He's my favorite character besides Lucifer, and his name is Dusk. Volt is with his dad, and they kill the cultists, but Dusk shows up and kills Volt's dad. Very unfortunate. Patches finds Falou in a museum or something and convinces him to ditch Dusk. Volt meets with Rose, another powerful friend of Dusk, and she wants to help the protagonist too. We saw her right at the beginning of the game, but she wasn't important then, so that's why I'm only mentioning her now. Noel is with Sora, and Sora kinda loses his mind for a little bit and he goes on a killing rampage of the cultists because, oh shit, he has some kind of powers. Blah blah blah, more unimportant stuff happens and now we're facing the man himself. He wants to offer Sora as a sacrifice to complete the ritual because Sora is the son of a god, as we found out a few games earlier. But he fails because the good guys always win. Coco and Middens are rescued and the cult is whole again. They forgive each other. And then they go to jail. And yeah, that was ideal finale. It was fun, but the thing with every IF game is that sometimes it just drags on, as you're about to see with this big pile of shit. The day after is the next installment. It's not that bad, but it just drags on and on and on. Seriously, this game took me hours to get through. And funny thing is, I barely remember anything from it. 99% of what happens here is not relevant to the story at all. After the events of Ideal Finale, everything goes back to normal. But not for long. Walt comes back from school one day and finds out from the news that he's wanted for terrorism. Remember what I said about everything being normal? Walt decides to gun it and he meets up with the cult on his way out. They're not in jail because they struck a deal with the police and they're doing community service or something now. That's funny. Walt talks to them and they get rudely interrupted by the Capitol building catching on fire. The Dusks go and check it out and they bring Walt along too for some reason. That's what I'll be calling the cult from now on, the Dusks. Oh look, there's zombies and demons and stuff again. In the Capitol, they do a whole lot of nothing and they get out of there and the Capitol just vanishes into thin air. Lucifer tells Walt to run ahead before the cops show up and he runs off into the forest. He needs to get back to Miles and the others, but he has to get through the forest first. We now get to decide the path we take like in the second game. The sequence starts off at this particular cave and you get the option to search around. If you do that, Walt jumps into the cave to see what's up. Big mistake. I'm getting really curious about something. Okay, let's go in. Walt jumps into the cave. Walt groped and touched the wall. Touched it. Oh, this wall is kinda soft. Whoa! What? Ow, what? Stop! Seriously, what's this? Hey, let go of me!
The fuck?
What are you doing?
Is he molested?
Oh no, he's getting... Where are you touching? Where are you touching? A little while later, Walt crawled out of the cave.
Ah!
I'll never come near this place again.
Who was in the cave? Who touched him?
Walt gets fucking molested in that cave. Why did Rawfish add this in? Why? I think I know actually. It's the creator ending in their barely disguised fetish. That's the one. Moving on. Walt finds Apawcalypse hiding in a shack in the forest. He agrees to show him the way out of the forest and now we cut back to the Dusks. They kill a bunch of zombies and demons and they follow Walt into the forest where they come face to face with a figure that looks like Walt, but it's not him. They know who that really is and they're evil, so they start to fight it. The rest of the Volts hear the news and they head to the forest and they eventually meet up with Walt and Apawcalypse. Everything goes dark a bit and we get back to the Dusks and damn! Rose and Fulu are not looking too hot. The entity is revealed to us and it's someone that looks identical to Walt, but they're a girl and her name is Windy. Also, something funky is happening in the sky. It seems that this entity is really overpowered. Dusk and Lucifer are the only ones left standing and they know they have no chance, so they take Fulu and Rose and they get out of there. Probably the smartest thing someone has done in IF, period. Back with the Volts, Apawcalypse tells everyone to look up and they do. A fucking planet is about to fall on them. That's supposed to be a parallel universe, I think, and it's about to collide with the current one. The Volts have been followed by someone named JD. She's supposedly from that parallel universe, and she's here now to help prevent the collision from happening. Windy is here because she wants the two worlds to collide, so they have to stop her. They track her down to an abandoned chapel and the big showdown has come. Volt and Sora need to defeat her because they're the powerful fighters out of the group. They get their asses handed to them, until they don't because they're main characters. Wendy is Volt's sister in case you haven't noticed. Volt passes the speed check and he befriends her, and oh shit! JD was evil all along! It's revealed to us that initially, Volt was supposed to have a sister but his mom had a miscarriage and that was Windy. JD somehow brought her back and made her to believe that Volt is her biggest enemy. JD is about to clap them, but the Dusks show up and save the day.
No, it does.
Okay,
But you look at that forehead.
Oh my god, that is not a flattering angle, bro. Just leave your frunzil. Oh my god. Dă-la pula.
Everyone now has to stop JD from colliding the two worlds because that would be very uncool. Volt and Windy now team up because they're both very powerful, so they manage to take out JD, but ultimately they're too late to stop the process, so they all just kinda say goodbye to each other. And then they all fucking died. But not really. Volt and Windy are on this strange fur planet thing and they talk a little, they make amends once and for all. Volt sends Windy back down to Earth and he stays there to fight... God? Windy awakes in her bed in this new universe. Here, Volt doesn't exist, only Windy. She's the one who achieved all the things Volt did in the other universe. She basically replaces him. Windy goes outside and meets the other guys. They're all the same, but that's the thing. They act like Windy has been Volt the entire time. They don't know what happened because their two universes collided. So now we're left with Windy trying to live her normal life, but she's like pretty depressed and for good reason too. And that concludes the day after. It was okay, but it went on for too long. I like that they gave the Dusk some screen time because, as I said, they're the best characters in the series. To be completely honest, the only characters I like from the main guys are Sora and maybe Volt. I don't know, he has some good lines because he's like naturally funny because he's a dumbass. You get it.
Throwing grenade!
God damn it!
Moving on, the next game is called Imperfect Festival. Not a lot of time has passed since the last game, but Windy is trying to accommodate herself with her new life. She goes to school and tries to live normally. The team goes to school on what seems like a normal day, but right as Sora waves goodbye to her friends in the hallway, someone flashbangs him and he awakes in a locker. He gets out and guess what? Everyone's dead again, including the original cast as you'll see when playing. This is getting old. It just so happens that the only survivors are Noelle, Sora, Tomoka, and Windy. Might I mention, Windy's whole character trait is that she's very serious and mean all the time. She's literally a worse Volt. They run around for a bit until they find out who killed everyone. It's biblically accurate angels. And there's quite a lot of them. They eventually meet up with the Seraphim. He's this god and he's here to judge them for... something? He doesn't tell us for what. But as you can guess, our characters eventually prevail and they manage to beat him up. Sora and Windy beat up a literal god. And that's kinda it with Imperfect Festival. It's pretty short and it's here to prepare us for what's to come in the next game. The next and final installment is called Imperfect Fortopia. This is supposed to be the last game in the series and it organizes everything in chapters. As of me making this video, only 2 of the 5 planned chapters are released and available to play, so we'll have to wait a bit longer to see how everything ends. Until then, I'll talk about the 2 available chapters and I'll maybe make a follow-up video when we eventually get the other ones. The first chapter happens right after Imperfect Festival, with Windy and the others escaping the school and alerting the police of what happened. They show up at the scene to investigate, including Officer Steiner, aka Windy's dad. At some point Noelle smells something burnt. At first I thought she was having an aneurysm, but that is not the case. A glaring light appears in the sky and to everyone's surprise, the angels are back and they are not here to negotiate. It's a whole army of them. The guys rightfully get the fuck out of there and jump in Steiner's police car. They drive to the forest and then go through on foot. But the Seraphim finds them and Officer Steiner tells the Volts to run while he buys them some time. Kinda stupid to go against a god, especially when all you have is a handgun, but whatever. They have enough time to make a run for it and they eventually find themselves in some open plains where another angel makes its appearance. Their name is Zenith and it throws them a surprise. Steiner's arm. He died very swiftly, who would have thought? Windy stays behind to fight the Zenith, and the survivors are on the run once again. Their goal is to reach Kemono Haya as it's the only safe zone left. Everyone else in the city is most probably dead. This is the last time we see Windy because she's not in the next chapter. Personally, I don't think she's dead. She's probably gonna come back in the later chapters. Anyway, moving on to chapter 2. Chapter 2 sees us eventually reaching Kemono High where some of the last survivors are located. We are greeted by Lucifer and Dusk? Finally, some good characters! They escort us into the school where they tell us that they plan to strike back at the angels somehow. Seems a bit unrealistic, but hey, nothing is realistic here. Lucifer tells Sora that everyone needs his help because he's powerful, and that's true, I guess. But before we do anything else, we get to talk with people, and now we reach the most vile, disgusting, and unnecessary scene in the whole series. Sora sees Tomoka and Fulu and he checks up on them. Tomoka is assaulting this kid. He's like sniffing him and shit. Sora tries to break them up and he fails, and someone else has to step in to remove this pervert from Fulu, and that someone is JD. She's alive in this universe and she's actually good this time. Before I go on, I just wanna say, just throw Tomoka out to the angels or something. This guy does not deserve to be here. He needs to be gone. So JD knows everything about the universes colliding, which is cool. She tries explaining this to everyone else, but she gets interrupted because the school is under attack. Lucifer, Sora, and Noel go around and get rid of some angels, and everyone heads outside. A jet black figure storms through and destroys the whole school. Thank God they all decided to go outside. And that figure reveals itself to be Alpha, the god of chaos. He's here because he wants these guys gone for good, and so JD stays behind to buy everyone some time. Again. This is happening too much. You have no chance of beating up a god on your own. They run through the forest until they reach those plains again, and Alpha shows up. Now the Tusks stay behind to fight him while everyone runs away. We get to actually interact in the fight, and so we're given a bit of hope that they might actually do something. Fulu does some kind of spell that unfortunately kills him, I think. The last guy standing thought they'd done it, but Rose gets fucking blasted while she's stalking from the behind. This horrified me when I played through this. Ah! What? Lucifer and Dusk are fucking dumbfounded as Rose falls limp to the ground. Alpha is still here and he's pissed. They valiantly keep fighting, but Alpha is about to destroy Dusk. But poor Lucifer jumps in front of him and Alpha fucking spears him in the abdomen. Oh my god, no! My poor baby. Oh, fuck you, Alpha. The two of them are utterly defeated, but they have one more trick up their sleeves. Dusk chants some kind of spell on Lucifer, and the portal opens up and sucks them all in. And so the only thing remaining of them is Dusk's wand, laying on the ground. This whole scene broke me. Like, I don't even know why. They're fucking IF characters. Something about how Rose got killed and how she didn't even get to finish her sentence, and then how Lucifer got punched through the abdomen. Something shattered inside of me. This final scene was very well done. And with that, we reached the end of chapter 2, and we're stuck waiting for the continuation. I really hope that the Dusks aren't all dead, but Rose sure as hell isn't coming back, as well as Fulu, probably. Dusk is maybe still alive, wherever he is, and Lucifer, I don't think there's coming back from that injury. I also think that JD is still somehow alive. I don't know how, but I have a feeling she'll be back. But yeah, that's kinda it for now. Everything is a bit hopeless at the moment, but the Volts are trying to find Kafpalak because maybe he can pull some kind of miracle out of his ass or something. So yeah, this is the story of IF so far. If you enjoyed this video, then consider subscribing to my channel as I'm a new creator and I would really appreciate the support. Press that like button because it's just waiting for you to press it, come on. I was your host, Tigris, and I'll see you in the next one. Do svidania. Oh, and here's Emma. She was here the whole time, she didn't really do much. Yup.